I'm Ashley Rose, and I'm listening to and hanging out with Chris Gordon for Hellblazer Biz.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night, listeners, wherever you may be in the world right now. This is Hellblazer.biz with your host, as always, me, Chris Gordon. Today, I take a slight deviation from the world of TV and film to bring to you an artist who sketches and draws comic book art. And I've got to say, it's actually pretty excellent artwork too, if I may say so myself. You can find her online at her website, which is The Art of Ashley Rose, at a-rose-art.com, where you can see her work. And she even takes commission work too. She's a regular guest at shows, showcasing her talent, so today I am happy to introduce to you Ashley Rose. Hey everyone, I am here with Ashley Rose, a comic book and graphic novel artist. Ashley, how are you?
I'm good.
Good.
And you?
I'm good, thank you. Good, thank you. Thank you for agreeing to come on. It was a deviation for me, talking to the artists who are behind the comics which inspire the TV shows that I normally talk to people on.
Yeah, well, I'm usually just in indie and small press, but it's a good way to definitely try to reach at least the Hellblazer fandom. I do owe them a lot, even though I've never actually drawn the comic. But I do a lot of pinup art for Constantine, and if it wasn't for them, I don't think I would have ever gotten my first convention. Because those are really hard to get into. So, I really appreciate at least that fandom, and I have a high respect also as a fan.
Cool, excellent. That's very true. It's a Hellblazer fandom. It's just phenomenal. That's how I started this out. This is, they made me as well. It was all, yeah, it was. It was just got involved in the fandom. They're so supportive, and they are just a really nurturing fandom for anyone who's got, wants to showcase like yourself. They'll support, they'll share, and they'll push people out and really sort of back people.
So I've, had nothing but positive experiences. I actually just finished Heroes and Villains actually in October here in Atlanta, which I did see Matt Ryan there. He does have one of my pieces. Well, it's a particularly special piece because I actually placed it and had it placed on vinyl. So it's a tribute to the Devil's vinyl as well as my artwork. And him playing Constantine. So
yeah,
I figured it was a good gift.
Yeah, I've seen the picture of that. That was pretty cool. So yeah, I'm sure he loved it. Anyway, he does love. I think I mentioned to you, he does sort of keep these little keepsakes and stuff, and he puts them all up. Especially, he's got a little place on his mantelpiece. I think he said by his fire, where he keeps all these gifts. So your vinyl will be up there, I'm sure.
It's great. It took a lot of time. It was a lot more difficult than I expected. I've never actually done anything with vinyl, so it was a challenge, but I got it on there, so that's all that matters.
Yeah, I can imagine. I've got no artistic talent whatsoever, so in that respect. So yeah, anyone who can do anything like that.
Yeah, everyone's good at something. Like for instance, my sister thinks that she isn't really good at anything. I told her, but you're like the most organized person I know. You're really good at organizing, and that's a good trait to have.
Yeah, true. Yeah, especially always need one good organizer then, and you can actually move them around. And yeah, for all the people who aren't good organizers and who just sit around like me and.
Hey, I'm just saying, everyone's good at something.
Oh yeah.
I really truly believe that.
I'm good at talking BS. Excellent, cool. As you know, anyway, I've got some questions here for you. So for people to listen to and see where it takes us and what kind of answers we get. And it'll be interesting, as I say, from a different perspective for me for once to actually hear different inspirations and things like that. So when was it you first decided you wanted to create your own comics and graphic art as a career?
Well, it's actually
or a hobby.
It's been a roller coaster ride. Honestly, I originally wanted to be a tattoo artist. I used to read comics. I've actually, comics have been involved in my life for years, on and off. I've had an ongoing relationship with them, on and off. Gradually as I got older.
Yeah.
I originally, wanted to be a tattoo artist. So I was a tattoo apprentice, and I was tattooing for a while, and something just about, there's nothing wrong with that industry. It's a great industry. It's always it's getting bigger, it's always constantly growing.
Mhm.
It's not really in a decline. So it's just honestly for me, I felt I didn't necessarily feel like fit into that industry.
Yeah.
Um, I just couldn't really get the hang of things.
Mhm.
So I did, eventually tattoo for a little bit and then I quit. And, I just ended up having a regular, 9 to 5 job. And one day I just was reading, I started reading comics again. And I decided, I was so influenced by the art. And it was actually, believe it or not, it was Green Lantern's The New 52 from Jeff Johns.
Mhm.
I was really influenced by the art a lot. And I remember reading the farewell letter in the back because he had been writing Green Lantern for years. He was very known for like Blackest Night,
Mhm.
you know,
Okay.
Green Lantern Rebirth, Flash. He was known for all these, major comic book
Yeah.
achievements. And I just kind of got up and I started just trying to basically get the hang of drawing comics. And then I started reading up on them. So I eventually realized that this was something that I felt comfortable doing.
Mhm.
So I never really was big on social media, so I started a Twitter, and I started getting my artwork out there, and I realized that like a lot of people liked and enjoyed my artwork,
Yep.
even though it was kind of rough. It wasn't really as clean as it is now, and I just kind of got up from work and I told my boss I was quitting,
Mhm.
and she said why, and I said because I want to go draw comics. And I'll never forget how some people thought it was the funniest thing in the world. And I was like, no, I'm serious. I'm quitting today. I'm cashing in my vacation.
Mhm.
I'm cashing in my 401k and I'm moving to Atlanta. Because I'm originally from, actually, as everyone knows, I'm originally from South Texas. So I'm from
Yeah.
Corpus Christi, Texas, which is a really small town. It's
Mhm.
kind of known, but it's not really known.
Yeah.
There's not a whole lot of advancements in the field that I'm in. So I just got up and quit and kind of packed my stuff and I saved about, after I cashed everything out and sold my car, I only had about, I think it was like $1,500. I packed up and moved to Atlanta and like
Yeah.
I've been here since. So,
Excellent. Excellent. How long ago was that? Did you say?
honestly, I've been in Atlanta about 2 years. Working in comics, this has only been almost my complete first year,
All
which
right. Excellent.
I never expected to actually get this far in this one year.
Yeah.
But I worked incredibly hard to at least get to where I'm at, and
Mhm.
2017 is going to be a better year.
Awesome. Awesome. I'm sure it will be. That's pretty good story to come through as well. Obviously, you're going to shows, you're selling your own artwork and everything now as well within the space of a year. That's pretty impressive.
Yeah, it's tiring, but you got to do it.
Yep.
You got
Yep.
to
You
keep
do.
at it.
Oh yes. Was it? It goes. Do or do not. There is no try, as Yoda always says.
Exactly.
Excellent. So, kind of, what's been your biggest influence on the outside of the comics industry? How did that affect your life?
Um, as far as the biggest influence, I've never really thought it through as far as outside of comics. I really like films. I
Mhm.
really enjoy, the way things are shot action wise. I've always been really into action films.
Yeah.
So, and, I also like different types of artwork.
Mhm.
Music also influences me. I listen to different types of music based on each character that I want to draw
Yeah.
or any script that I get. I haven't worked on anything like a major script that's about 22 pages. I've only done anthology series
Okay.
for different horror, suspense, mystery stories. I did do one science fiction story. Mm, That one actually didn't even get printed. It somehow got cut from the comic because the comic had too many stories in it.
Right.
So it just depends, I listen to classical. I listen to, I listen to punk. I listen to rockabilly. I listen to psychobilly. I listen to metal.
Mhm.
It just really depends where the script takes me and how I feel towards the character.
Okay. Cool. Makes sense as well, because obviously that's the thing. A lot of people kind of have that, especially writers as well. They sort of, it's the music really sort of puts them in the right spirit and the right feel of a character. So
Yeah, exactly. Actually, Warren Ellis, I actually went to his book signing recently,
Mhm.
and he was talking about everything he's written. it's pretty much based off of something he's listening to.
All right,
So that's
okay.
how he writes pretty
Yeah,
much all his stories or all his comic book scripts.
cool. That's pretty awesome. It's just,
Yeah.
yeah, base it on how your music makes you feel, and what the lyrics are. That's pretty good going. And sort of moving on from that as well, is what's your kind of biggest influence in the comics industry? Who are your influences within there? I mean, there's a hell of a lot of people, I guess.
No, there's not really like a hell of a lot of people. I mean, I really do enjoy, different people's artwork.
Mhm.
The biggest influence I had was, you know, Jerry Ordway. He used to draw Power Shazam. He
Mhm.
did a lot of stuff for DC Comics. He's by far given me the most advice that's valuable. He's also
Okay.
helped me. I kind of sort of look towards him as a mentor,
Mhm.
almost like a father figure. But he's given me the best advice, pretty much when it comes to my art. And I don't think if it was for him, my art wouldn't look the way it does now. And my
Yeah.
art's only progressing because I'm constantly learning.
Mhm. Okay. Yeah, I understand that. Yeah, it's definitely. Sounds like he's great. It's sort of a great help. Then, really, it's nice of him to actually lend that support and lend that assistance to you and coaching and mentoring there.
Oh, absolutely. These people are always busy, especially people that already know names. They're always constantly, they have work because their careers are set, they
Yeah.
pretty much still keep going.
Yeah, no, that is really good. It's like I mentioned to you before, that publicist, similar to me in that respect. This is some publicist who does it daily and has been doing it for years, but just reached out to me and decided to, to mentor and sort of help me sort of expand and rebrand everything and push forward that way. So it's really, it is inspiring. It's a thing to have. It's a really nice thing to have someone who actually is there behind you to sort of, to I can't speak now. It's to, you know what I mean. It's to push that forward and encourage you to develop as you go along. And it's a good feeling to have. So it's nice to hear that in every industry there is a there's always
There's,
people who are willing to help and willing to reach.
well, the way I've always felt, even when I run into people that ask me questions, I'm always very open and I always make it a point on my website and on Twitter. If you have any questions, and I mean absolutely anything, regardless of how embarrassing you think it is, how
Mhm.
personal it is, you feel free to ask it. Um, and I always make it a point that, and I was telling a friend of mine who's actually in the special effects industry, I told him, I feel since I've learned so much, not so much that it's an obligation, but it's almost like a priority for me to share the knowledge that I've learned.
Yeah.
Because how are you going to get better? How is anyone going to learn anything if you're not willing to share?
Exactly. Totally believe that. I mean, I've had people come to me asking me advice on it as well. It is. It's just you pay it forward. You give people advice. You're going to learn more yourself because the more, like I say, the more you share, the more people will share back with you.
It's kind of like that. You have to pay it forward, I think. And also, I'm a true believer in karma.
Mhm.
So, I got to try to, put out more positive than negative out there. And I really try hard not to.
Yeah.
So,
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah. If you're going to be a miserable bee, it'll come back and hit you.
am
Excellent.
I allowed to cuss on here?
Yeah, you can do. Yeah, sorry, I was just trying to be polite, but yeah, I mean, if you're
I
going to be a
wasn't
complete
sure.
misery.
I meant to ask, because it might accidentally come out.
Oh, that's fine. That's fine. If you've heard Emmett Scanlon's, you'll find out that if it didn't, I would have had to bleep the whole thing. Yeah, it's every other word, which is it's pretty funny though, to be fair. But yeah, you're right. Calm. As I say, if you are going to be a miserable bastard in your life, it's going to be it's going to come back and hit you at one point in time. So be happy, be nice, and share things. It's good, and you find it works out nicely. So, kind of, what's your drawing routine? Your typical work for drawing routine? How often do you draw? How many per day? Things like that.
I draw as often as I can. It really depends on the page size.
Mhm.
My routine is very different because I'm just in independence. I'm not really in sort of like, I don't work for DC, I don't work
Yeah.
for Marvel. I work for smaller press.
Mhm.
So, smaller press that either release anthologies or only have like about 4 books, and they're only sold, either in the UK or they're only sold via
Yeah.
website, digital. So I haven't made it to that point in my career. hopefully, the more I get better, I will.
Mhm.